dozen of podcasts on different subjects of physics and mathematics, this is the dream podcast which I've been waiting for. A podcast on the philosophy of mathematics, and it is happening on my channel, as you can see, on the 5th of May, and it is starting from 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. I am not only happy, but I am equally excited that finally there is a podcast which is happening on the philosophy of mathematics. And the professor who is coming to speak on this podcast is none other than a very distinct Justin Clark Doane. Now, right on the screen, as you can see, Professor Justin is an associate professor of philosophy at Columbia University and Honorary Research Fellow at the University of Birmingham, UK, and Adjunct Research Associate at Monash University, Australia, and has been a periodic visitor at none other than the Institute for Advanced Study, Princeton. I won't be able to tell you that how much I am happy, and I'm very much thankful to Professor Justin Clark for giving this time and finally fixing up the date and time on the 5th of May. Now, how I came in contact with Professor Justin, that is also a very interesting story. Well, I would talk about this on some part of in any other video. But remember that he is, I would say, a periodic visitor in none other than the IAS, where our dearest Professor Einstein and Gödel used to work. So this is all of you to participate on this webinar, because you will find very less people, very less authoritarian professors who can speak on the philosophy of mathematics. Now, his works, as you can see, centers on metaphysics, epistemology, and is the author of Morality and Mathematics and Mathematics and Metaphilosophy and various other articles. Now, philosophy is basically a very misinterpreted term. So let us not ask questions like what is mathematics, what are numbers, but let us study and let us learn that what actually is the philosophy of mathematics. As you can see right on the screen, this is the profile from the Department of Philosophy, Justin Clark Doane, and you can go through this link and you can search out. He has written enormous amount of papers. He is a very responsive, distinguished professor. Whenever and wherever I am writing an email, he would immediately respond to that email, morning, day or night. So that shows not only his knowledge, but also a high amount of professionalism. What are the topics that we would be discussing? An overall idea right on the screen, as you can see: foundation issues on the philosophy of mathematics, philosophy of mathematical practice, epistemology, mathematics and reality, Gödel's incompletnesstheorem, metaphysics and philosophy of science. Now, Professor Justin Clark is basically an expert, and he works basically on incompletnesstheorem, abstraction of mathematics and various other subjects. So definitely this podcast would emphasize on Gödel's incompletnesstheorem, the epistemology, the abstract notion of mathematics and various other things. So are you really excited to participate in this podcast? Please do let me know in the comment box. Again, repeating, the date would be 5th of May, that is a Sunday, but it would start at 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time evening. In general, the podcasts which happens for my channel starts at 8. Dr. Julia Camper is coming tomorrow at around exactly at 8 p.m. on my channel to speak on precision astronomy, astrophysics. So generally you might have a notion that Physics for Students always conduct it on 8 p.m. But in order to match with the time of New York, especially in the place where Professor Justin is staying, it will start at 4:30 p.m. So my earnest request is not to miss this podcast, because you will rarely get a chance live with a person speak. What are the things that you will ask? And as you have always been very participative, let us make this podcast equally participative and let us learn from this person and Professor Justin Clark. He's got numerous papers which are written, and he is actually a very cult figure in the area of philosophy of mathematics, and he can speak on a lot of things and clear up our lot of ideas that Justin Clark Doane speaking and understanding and enlightening our horizon on the philosophy of mathematics.